All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with several divisions around Major League Baseball already seeing the first place team on cruise control, we can look in for what could be a battle in the National League East. Now, for the second consecutive year, the New York Mets have been in first place of or been in possession rather, of first place in the NL East for the majority of the season, but they're hoping for different results than they had last year. Not only did the Mets not win the division as they lost out to the Atlanta Braves, they also failed to make the playoffs altogether while finishing with a losing record. Now, this season, the Mets have gotten off to a solid start, which included them at one point having a double digit cushion over the Braves. But as the Braves were 23 and 27 on May the 31st, they're 29 and 8 cents. And in the process, they've trimmed the Mets lead in the East down to just a game and a half. Now, I say this because New York and Atlanta are set to begin a three-game set tomorrow night in Georgia. And even though that is July, we have not gotten to the All-Star break yet, of course. But even with that said, this is still an important series. And I say that because the Braves, obviously, they're the defending World Series champions and they're looking to go back and win once again. But they're also out to show that they still run the East. While if you're the Mets, you want to go out there and stake your claim and prove to Atlanta that this is going to be a new day in this division. Now, for the Mets, they've basically been the walking wounded all season long, and they're expected to not have Jeff McNeil, catcher James McCann, and possibly Starling Marte for this series. But what we've seen from the Mets this year under manager Buck Showalter is basically a next man up philosophy, and somebody has consistently found a way to come up and make the important plays, whether it be fielding, pitching, or hitting to keep the Mets afloat. Now, tomorrow night's game is going to be very important. You're talking about two of the better pitchers in the National League. Of course, Max Scherzer is taking a bump for the Mets, and Max Fried is going to be taking a bump for Atlanta. And of course, this will be Scherzer's second start since returning from the injury. Looked very solid in his first go round back with the Mets. The Mets did not let him go deep into the contest. But you have to like what you saw from the three-time Cy Young Award winner, and he's going to have to be on top of his game tomorrow. But also, this Mets lineup is going to have to find a way to score some runs for him. We saw them get shut out in 10 innings today at the hands of the Miami Marlins. And the Mets want to try to bring their best foot forward against a team that is really barreling down their throats for first place in that division. Now, you think about the managers, Buck Showalter, and of course, Brian Schnicker. Buck is a great X and O's guy, and Brian Schnicker, you got to give him credit because he pushed through all of the right buttons last year for this Braves team. Coming down the stretch, and of course, they were able to take that momentum over into the postseason, and the rest is history. Now, you ask yourself, who needs this series more? Plain and simple for me, it's the Mets. If you are the Mets, you've had first place in your back pocket in this division for the majority of the first half of the season. What you want to try to do if you're the Mets, you got to try to find a way to take 2 out of 3 here. And with that said, if you're the Mets, I think it's important for them and their psyche to head into the break in possession of first place in this division. Obviously, there is still plenty of baseball left to be played. Obviously, the Mets and the Braves still have plenty of games left to be played. But these are the important games right here, the head-to-head matchups. There's not going to be any scoreboard watching for the next couple of days if you're any of these teams. You're not worried about what the Braves are going to do against the Phillies. You're not worried about what the Nationals are going to do against the Mets. It's mano a mano, or in this case, team versus team, as far as getting it done and seeing who's going to have first place at least heading into the break. So for the Mets, they're going to have to bring their A game because the Braves are this side of the Yankees and possibly the Astros. They're the hottest team in baseball. You're talking about 29-8 over your last 37, and sometimes it seems like the Braves simply won't lose. The Mets, they've been consistent. They've been steady Eddie. They, really haven't had that crazy win streak, so to speak. They've just been consistent as far as taking series, and they've obviously taken the majority of their series. Didn't win the series this weekend, but they split with the Marlins. Of course, they took their last series, the previous series, against the Cincinnati Reds, and they took the previous series against against the Texas Rangers, rather. So, if you're the Mets, you definitely want to try to go out there, put your best foot forward. And you know what? Next man up philosophy. Let's see who gets it done. The Braves are star-studded with their lineup. The Mets are hard workers, so we're going to see what wins out in this series, and let's see who can get more momentum for themselves as the first half of the MLB season is winding down. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.